Hi everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do the twin flame reading for this week. Really, I don't date these, I just name them as the messages come through. So it's going to be just kind of an update, energy update, see what is happening, see what's going on with your connection. I'm using a microphone today, so I hope that the sound is good. Please let me know what you think. Yeah, and also just wanted to say I'm starting another round of the coaching program starting at the beginning of March. So if you're interested, please take a peek at that. The link is in the description box. So thank you for all your love and prayers and energy over the last week while I was recovering from this head cold. I appreciate your love. Let's go ahead and get started. Spirit, please use me as a clear channel for communication. May the messages that come through be in the highest good of all those concerned. I draw a sacred circle around this space, setting my ego to the outside. Call upon my ancestors, higher wisdom, divine love to be with me. Guide these messages, protect this space, the listener, and the person for whom they're listening. And so it is. So, we're going to start off with a general overview of the energy. We'll start with the Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine Reunited deck by Christabel Jessica. And then we shall explore the energies further. So the first card, the masculine energy is bringing in Dionysus, the god of sensuality. If you've been getting if you've been feeling sexual vibes from your masculine energy, and that could be why they could be thinking about you in terms of whether if you've had sexual contact in the past, if you've had sexual experiences, then they may be remembering that, thinking about it, pondering, how awesome it was. Okay, I don't know why this is happening, but I'm just gonna say it, why it's coming through. But Spirit speaks to me a lot in song, and the song that's coming through is "Sexual Healing" by Marvin Gaye. That the masculines may be thinking quite a bit about that sexual healing, what it felt like to be in that kind of sensual, connected experience with you. If you've been together in that way. If you haven't, then that's totally okay, because not all twin flames are sexual. There's definitely this awareness of the sensuality, which is also about living and experiencing all of your senses, okay? It's not just about sex, it's about being able to enjoy life, smelling the roses, really tasting your food, being mindful. It feels like a lot of the masculines are really just getting into that space of wanting to be more cognizant of how they feel and how they're living their lives and how they're showing up. The feminine is bringing Kuan Yin, the goddess of nurturing. So the feminine is really in a space of putting a lot of time and energy into nurturing things in the feminine's own life. Could be in the feminine's experience. If you have pets or children, if you've been ill like me, nurturing yourself. There's just a lot of really focusing on providing and creating nurturing environments and experiences. This can be, some of you may have been organizing, clearing out spaces, cleaning your room, getting rid of old clothes. There's really this space, and I'm getting a lot of people are creating more nurturing environments in order to create the next phase of life. So you might be literally cleaning out your closet, recognizing that, again, I ask this question all the time, if your counterpart, your ideal counterpart was to show up on your doorstep tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm ready, let's get into union with their suitcase or, a U-Haul truck. Are you ready for them? Is your space ready? Is your body ready? Are you spiritually ready? And it feels like a lot of the feminines are looking at the areas where they're not ready and they're preparing. There's a saying, stay ready so you never have to get ready. And that's what this nurturing feminine energy is doing. It's like cleaning out the closet and creating space so that if your masculine were to show up tomorrow with a suitcase, that you'd be like, oh yeah, I already have, there's space for you in the closet and in the drawer. You don't have to do anything to get ready because you stay ready. So the shadow side of this connection is abandonment. So people may still be working through any lingering abandonment issues. Now, if you are, it's totally normal, totally makes sense, no judgment. It's just something to be aware of, okay? It's something to be mindful of, that maybe what you're reacting to, if you feel really rejected or abandoned by your counterpart, is about abandonment issues that go back to childhood or even past life. One of my favorite sayings is, if you're hysterical, it's historical. Meaning, if your response to something is extreme, if you become hysterical or you have like a huge, ginormous response to something, it's probably because it's rooted in some kind of historical pain. So, because this is showing up in this space, in the shadow space, and because twin flames mirror each other, what this is saying to me is that both people are experiencing this abandonment issue or have experienced it in the past in this connection, although it may look very different. The masculine may have been the one who abandoned the feminine. And if that's the case, it wasn't because they don't love or didn't love the feminine. It's because of their own fears of being abandoned. It's that whole thing of, I'm going to leave before you have a chance to leave me. So I'm going to run away from you so that I don't have to face the fact that maybe you won't love me in some way. I know that a lot of masculines that I've talked to or have shared with their feminines that have shared that with me, that's a common refrain. A common message is that the masculine is not necessarily running out of their own fear of being they're running out of their own fear of being abandoned. Sorry, I had to clarify that. They are running because it's easier to run and not feel the pain than it is to stay and possibly feel the pain. Now, the light side of this connection is joy. I love saying this because what this is saying to me, by the way, we have 8, 9, and 10 here. What this is saying to me is that this is, what part of what's happening here is that this is about teaching people how to find joy in spite of the circumstances. That's one of the greatest lessons in spiritual development, is learning how to remain in a state of joy regardless of what's happening externally. That's something that, if you think about the story of Job in the Bible, that he was cursed, all of this stuff was happening, and his wife was like, why don't you just curse God and get it over with? And Job just refused. And of course was rewarded in the end for his faithfulness. And that's what I'm seeing here, is that for a lot of people, Spirit is saying, like, can you source your joy in me? Because if you're dependent on somebody or something else to feel joy or feel peace, you're missing the point. You're not getting to what really needs to be understood, because you're focusing on something. You're making somebody else the focal point. You're making something else the focal point. Joy is about a sustained inner state that's present regardless of what happens in your circumstances. It's there whether or not your circumstances change, whether or not you're with somebody or not with somebody, or if you're, thin or if you're not thin, it's there. It's an inner state of being. So the light side is saying that what you're learning, part of what is happening right now, is literally about helping people to understand how to be in a state of joy in all things, in all circumstances. And that's a really beautiful thing, because once you understand that, you never become dependent on other people again. Whew, that's heavy. Got goosebumps just thinking about it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards around the connective energy. Excuse me. And this is from the Next World Tarot by Christy C. Road. And I believe you can look at the website to purchase these at croadcore.com. But if you just Google Next World Tarot, you'll be able to find how to order them. So, what is the overall connective energy? The Four of Cups, the Ten of Cups, oh my gosh, and the Queen of Cups. So much emotion right now, which is awesome. The Four of Cups. Okay, so this is a card of missed opportunities, reevaluations, kind of looking at things from a different angle. Here's the thing. People may be looking at this, especially in terms of the person who ran, maybe looking at this and like, oops, maybe that wasn't such a great idea. Maybe I need to reevaluate my direction and the choices that I've made. Maybe they thought what they were doing was based on one thing, and now they're starting to have some insight and figure things out. They're also understanding that there's this connective energy of people understanding that happiness, abundance, consistency, stability, having it all is a possibility, and wanting to move to that, wanting to move in that direction. A lot of people might have thought in the past, I can have love or I can have money, but I can't have both. And they're starting to understand that there is a reality where it's possible to have all of that. And that's the connective energy that I really feel like both people are kind of reevaluating the choices that they've made in the past and where that has gotten them today. Because at the end of the day, we all have free will. And if you're in a situation where you're feeling unhappy or unsatisfied, or you're feeling like this is not happening, you have to pause. We don't have to, but you can have, free will, of course, means that you have the choice to not look at it. But you do have a choice to reevaluate and to take a look at it and say, okay, if I continue making the decisions that I've been making, is it going to get me in a different path, or am I going to continue being on the same path that I'm on? The saying by Einstein, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you or your counterpart are continuing to do the same thing always, making the same choices, doing the same exact thing, you're starting to understand maybe that isn't going to get me here, because I always end up circling the same mountain. So now it's time to make choices that are going to take me here instead of back to where I've always been. And the Queen of Cups is one of my favorite cards. I love the Queen of Cups because the Queen of Cups is very much in very, very much in control of her emotions. And so this can be for either person or both people. It's a connective energy. So it feels like it's both people are sharing it. This is about really being in a space of, the Queen of Cups is very much in charge of her emotions. She knows her feelings, she honors her feelings, she's very sensitive, exquisitely sensitive, really, very intuitive, very empathic, and really is very much centered in the heart space, but isn't dependent on other people for affirmation or, to stroke the ego, is also very capable of taking care of other people and taking care of herself. And is also a card of, really ascending into an area or an energy of maturity. I feel like what this is saying in this overall energy here is that this reevaluation, having missed opportunities, having, some dissatisfaction about where things are, knowing you want to end up here, and people are saying like, okay, maybe there's some things that I need to mature in. Maybe there are some areas in which I need to grow. And I'm reevaluating how to get there. So what is the masculine bringing? We've got strength, the Seven of Swords, and the Three of Wands. So the masculine energy is really bringing this understanding of the need to have inner strength. And also, strength and fortitude in the external. Excuse me. This isn't just about having inner strength and mastering that. It's also about being able to stand strong in the external, resist temptation, have the discipline to interrupt old patterns and old ways of thinking and old ways of being. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I've been a therapist for, when I was practicing as a therapist, it was like 20 years or something ridiculous like that. And it's not as easy to just change patterns as we might like to think. It takes time, it takes discipline. It's like making a choice every day to do something and continuing to make that choice every day. That's the thing that we have to understand. And that's what the masculine is bringing. We also have the 8. I'm noticing that, which is a card of like infinity. The 8 sideways is infinity. So it feels like the masculine is starting to evaluate things from a bigger perspective, from a more, spiritual perspective, as opposed to just being in this, like, looking at things from earthly perspective. The 7 of Swords is an interesting card because what this is saying, the 7 of Swords is really a card of deceit. In the traditional tarot, it's a guy in like mismatched clothes. They don't even look like they're all, like, the boots and everything don't match. The hat looks like it's too small. And is like sneaking off with a handful of swords. I think he's holding 5 and there's 2 still stuck in the ground. Kind of looking over his shoulder like, haha, I pulled a swift one on you. And so this energy is saying to me that there is still this idea that the masculine is bringing, this energy of not being entirely candid and upfront. There's still some sneaky, trickster, thievery, deception. Here it is. Kind of energy that's happening. That's what the masculine is doing. If you see that, grabbing those swords, sneaking off, the tents are in the back, so none of his outfit doesn't match. So what I'm seeing here is just continued trickery. Masculine may not be entirely honest right now, and that may be if you haven't had communication, or the communication that you've had with your masculine has been a little bit limited. It might be that trickery, that trying to sneak off, not really wanting to face things, not really wanting to deal with things. And that may not be the case for all of you. Again, these are general readings, so just take what works for you and dismiss the rest. But that's what I'm really feeling here, is this masculine energy of just really being not entirely ready to face the facts, and is still trying to escape from things, still trying to kind of subvert the truth and the situation. We also have foresight. This is a card about kind of putting, waiting for your ships to come in, having put your ideas out into the world. You're waiting for that payoff. Wanting to really putting in a lot of work and starting to see some payoff, maybe seeing some light in the distance. Maybe getting some recognition in the world for the work that they're doing. They may have gotten a promotion, a raise, some acknowledgement, something, and they're still kind of focusing on that. Okay, they're still really looking at that. Now the thing of it is, and what I'm getting about this is that this is about really, wanting to get into partnerships, further extending partnerships, wanting to focus on a lot of the material, spiritual world, and what they're bringing to pass. Kind of wanting a fresh start in life and in business and in that arena. And that may be why they're still trying to escape this, because this here, this wanting to have this long-term success and needing to face the energies that they've brought, like sort of the karma seeds that they've sown in the past, are at odds. And it may be something that they're just not ready to really deal with. They may lack the inner strength to be able to face that right now. So what's the feminine bringing? Wow. So a lot of the feminines, this Page of Cups is really a card about, it can be about bringing a message of love, making an offer of love. You may, feminines, if you're a feminine watching, or you're watching for a feminine, The feminine may be feeling just really inspired. There may be a new opportunity, a new love offer that has come across her path, that has crossed, not her, their path. It's crossed the feminine's path, and that the feminine may be entertaining at this point. If the two in this connection have been in separation for quite some time, or there's external circumstances, the feminine may be actually considering whether or not it would be a good idea to move in a different direction, to take this new opportunity. And it's going to require courage, because the feminine is understanding that in order to do that, to move in a different direction or accept this new offer of love, it's going to require letting go of this this connection that they currently have. I'm sorry, I try to avoid using gendered language, so I'll do better going forward. But the feminine really is wanting to have some kind of fresh start. Really wants to be in this energy of moving toward the future and tapping into courage to overcome any obstacles. Now, this is about, the feminine might be feeling a little bit sensitive right now, highly sensitive, highly attuned. This is maybe a little bit still working on developing that maturity to move into the future, not learning how to master the emotions and so on and so forth. But there's also this Eight of Swords energy, which is a mental prison. Here's the thing, for some of you feminines, you may have an opportunity, a love opportunity that is knocking on your door that you may not be able to see because you're blocked by, you're like in this mental prison where you might be thinking it's, my twin flame or bust. If it's not them, that song, if I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby. That might be what's happening with a lot of the feminines right now. Really being trapped in this mental prison that it can only be this person, it can only be my twin flame, or else it's not real, or I don't want it, or whatever. And doing so is actually keeping you trapped from being able to move forward. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to go in a different direction. No, there's free will. People can choose to do what they want and what feels aligned to them. But what I am saying is that there are other opportunities that are presenting themselves, and you can't see it because you're caught in this mental prison. And if you want to get free of that, you're going to have to be courageous and be able to take some risks. So what's ahead? So we have the intersection card, Two of Pentacles, Four of Wands, and the Devil, El Diablo. So the Two of Pentacles is a card of balance, collaboration. This particular deck says intersection, which to me literally means crossing paths. That's the message that's coming through. A lot of you are going to cross paths with your twin in the future. This, when I read these cards, this is like in the next 4 to 6 weeks in the future. That's how I don't necessarily do time frames, but this is like with the energy for the next 4 to 6 weeks. As it stands today, people can change what happens in the future by the choices they make today. However, going back to the interpretation of the cards, I'm saying literally crossing paths, and not on purpose. I don't see this as going to be people crossing paths on purpose. I don't see like it's going to be one of those things where in the most bizarre and obscure ways you might end up crossing with your, coming to an intersection with your counterpart. I'm seeing things like butt dials, where they accidentally call you or you accidentally call them, like literally by accident, not like accidentally on purpose, but where it just happens and you're like, wow, how did that happen? That's so weird. That ends up leading to a phone call or a conversation that brings harmony, because this Four of Wands is often a twin flame confirmation card. And I feel like this crossing paths, this coming together, coming into balance is going to bring harmony. It's going to bring a sense of unity to a situation that has been really difficult for quite some time. It's going to bring some wholeness and some restoration of balance and peace, allowing people to be able to go forward, without anger, without resentment, just with peace. But here's the thing. It's also going to present the opportunity for people to get caught up in this devil energy again, which is, again, going back to that compulsive, overly sexual, although overly sexual, that's fucking relative, right? But really being caught up in that, where you get trapped in it, where you feel bound, you feel in bondage, you feel like you can't get free of it. That's not necessarily the space that you want to be in. So be careful, okay? Be careful if you hear from your twin, if you cross paths. I mean, I'm literally seeing things like people sending emails and typing in an address and accidentally sending it to you. You know how like in Gmail it like auto-populates if you type in like a couple of letters? And I literally am seeing people sending messages that are meant for one person and they accidentally send it to you, and then people are responding and being like, I don't think that you meant to send this to me. And then it kind of opens the door for a dialogue. I'm literally seeing that happening. Please, if that has happened or is happening or does happen to you, comment and let me know, because I want to, I just want to hear about it. You got to be careful though, because of this devil energy. You don't want to get caught up in bondage, okay? You don't want to be trapped in this energy where you feel like you can't move forward again. You don't want to feel like you're caught in like a compulsive cycle. So there may be, the devil is also a very sexual energy, so it could be that wanting to come back together and like you have crossed paths and suddenly it's like the fires are blazing again and there's all that passion and excitement and, bow chicka wow wow type of energy happening, which is awesome, right? If the circumstances are right. But if they're still in a karmic situation or a karmic marriage or emotionally unavailable or unable to come forward with any kind of meaningful offer, you could just get yourself snared in a situation where you're back feeling like the unrequited love and feeling lonely and abandoned again. So just proceed with caution. That's all I'm going to say is proceed with caution. Y'all are adults here. We're all adults. We all have the free will to make our own choices, and we know what's best for us. Or we know what's not good for us and we choose that anyway. But whatever, we're adults and we get to choose that path. Just be aware, okay? Just be cautious that you don't create a situation where you feel more bondage. So I'm actually really loving this reading right now. Feels really exciting. So we're going to look at the shadow energies right now through The Wisdom of the Hidden Realms by Colette Baron Reed. So let's look at what is the block. So we've got the Lady of the Gift in reverse and Gaia's Garden in reverse, 18 and 20. So Gaia's Garden in reverse, it says, when Gaia appears as a challenger in her garden, she gently points out that you've forgotten to give back to the world. Or perhaps you've become lazy, expecting fruit to fall from the tree while you rest beneath its leaves. Gardens require tending, water and food for the soil. Everything you have within you is needed in the world, so don't underestimate the power of what you have to offer. Timely effort is called for when Gaia challenges you to help in her garden. So I'm going to just go ahead from that because I know what this is about. This is about putting forth effort. Excuse me while I take a sip. So, a lot of people that I've done readings for, a lot of people in the spiritual community listen to readings and hope that that's somehow going to, be the magical wand that's going to shift things. But you tell them to do things like, set healthy boundaries, pray for your twin, do rituals, releasing ceremonies, get coaching or whatever. You give them, advice on what they to do. Tell somebody, you can shift the energy of this connection or your experience of the connection by doing a violet flame meditation for 20 minutes a day, for the next 90 days. you tell them that, and a lot of times, some people will do it, you know, and those are the people that really see awesome results, but a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people will go, kind of skip over the advice and jump right over to the next, maybe to another reader or get another, you know, whatever. You'll know that if that resonates for you. If you haven't been putting in the effort, it's time to put it in. It's time to start doing something, because the reality is that this is not, this kind of spiritual development, this kind of spiritual connection doesn't heal just by magic, you know. There has to be effort. There has to be work put in. Again, not the hard work where people are like, it's such a burden, not that kind of work, but the kind of energy of making a consistent effort to be able to move things forward, meditating, praying, doing your affirmations, you know, maintaining a positive mindset, whatever that looks like for you. If you haven't been putting in the effort, you know it, and it's time to start doing that. Really up the effort, because what's happening right now is that's why this is blocking it. And the Lady of the Gift says, the lady says that the act of withholding isn't welcome in her world. In fact, withholding information is another way to lie. Are you doing this? Perhaps someone is doing it to you, withholding something in order to keep you manipulated and controlled, so you believe deep down you're not quite good enough. Now is the time for you to address the concept of withholding. Now here's the thing. This doesn't necessarily mean just somebody not telling the truth. Are you withholding your gifts? Are you withholding your energies? Are you withholding money financially? That's one of the things that can really keep people blocked, is that holding on to things, feeling like, well, I can't give freely because then I won't have enough. That's really can block prosperity and abundance. And so if you're holding back your love, the truth, money, those are all things that are going to keep you blocked. You don't have to give a lot. You know, you don't have to be, like, when it comes in terms of, like, giving money, you don't have to give a ton, but address whether you're giving back, whether you're consuming, if you're like a lake that just keeps getting more and more and you're not giving back. That's what happened in the Dead Sea, and it's stagnant. So really be sure that you're, you know, giving out extra effort or equal effort into the world as what you're gaining. So let's look at the advice. You have the Dream Walker. And the Arrow Master in reverse. And we've got, look at this. This one was 20 and 18. Excuse me for bumping that. And then we have 10 and 8. So literally half and half. That the odds of that happening, I mean, I studied stats in grad school, but I am not a statistician, but I can tell you that in a deck that has, let me look, 44 cards, that kind of repetition happening is pretty small statistically. So it's, you know, pretty relevant messages here. So the Arrow Master in reverse, it says the Arrow Master appears to let you know that if you continue on your present course, you could be shooting yourself in the foot. You're being challenged now to take a look at the motives behind why you want to reach your goal at all. Is this a path of true destiny or the lure of fantasy and ego desires? Are you setting your intention to win something away from another to get what you want, whether it's good for all? Whew, boy, now that's a tough message, okay? Because there are some of you, I know, watching that your counterpart is in a karmic relationship. Mine is too. I get it. There's that desire to, please come back to me. I love you so much. I want to spend my life with you, and I understand it. But we have to look at the bigger picture. Is what you want actually going to serve the highest good of all? Now that's a prayer. Surrendering to the highest good, not my will, but thy will be done. Allowing the space for the freedom of other people, of all people to choose, to recognize that sometimes it's bigger than us and our desires, and to allow things to happen without trying to control. Whew. I'm telling you guys, this message is like on point. Be careful that you're not doing that, that you're not shooting yourself in the foot, or you're not creating that energy where you're trying to take something that isn't meant for you right now. And if it is meant for you, You can't miss it. And that's the thing that we have to understand, is that if something is truly meant to be ours, we can't miss it. And we have to learn to trust that and allow Spirit to do what Spirit needs to do. It's a really intense message. So the Dream Walker says, dreams really can and do come true. Still, there are two kinds, those of the small self and those of the divine. Spirit has a dream for you that is yours alone, and all you need to do is ask, and it will unfold like magic. So here's the thing. I feel like some of you have been asking for, maybe your prayers or your thoughts have been for your counterpart to come back, and I get it, but that may not be in the highest good of all right now. Maybe there are some things that need to be learned, some growth that needs to happen, some lessons that have to be mastered. I mean, hell, there may be kids involved, right? Maybe there's young children, and right now it's not in their best interest for their parents to not be together. Who freaking knows, right? But the thing is that we have to trust that when Spirit guides us in certain ways, that it's for the highest good. So if you've been praying for your counterpart to come back, I really suggest that you shift that prayer and pray for the highest good of all those concerned. Really, Spirit, I surrender the situation to you. I release it and let it go. And I ask for the highest good of all those concerned. And then truly release and let it go. Because what Spirit has for us, all of us on this journey, is much bigger than what we've even dreamed. Our fantasies are like, excuse me, our fantasies are like, wanting to go to the beach for a few days, and Spirit's like, but I want to send you on a 30-day cruise around the world. You're dreaming too small. So, let yourself dream. Let Spirit give you a dream that's going to really transform your life and your desires, and to be able to move forward with freedom. I'm going to go ahead and move this aside. Again, I am not saying that your counterpart, your twin flame, is not in your highest good. That may be in your highest good, and it may be something that's really going to come to pass soon, but it may not be. And at the end of the day, we just have to learn to trust and surrender. Que sera, sera, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. And trusting that as long as we're putting in our effort and doing what we're supposed to be doing, what we've been guided to do, that everything's going to work out in our favor. It has to. It's universal law. So let's look at the connective love energy. Divine timing. Trigger. Oh my God, and reconciliation. You guys, I'm telling you. Divine timing. Divine timing, by the way, does not mean that you just sit around and wait for something to happen. Sorry, Goliath is barking in the background. Sorry about that. I love my little puppers, but he sure likes to bark a lot. Divine timing is at play. Again, what I was saying is you don't sit on your duff and just wait for things to happen. Divine timing means that you play your part, you do your role, you do what you've been called to do, you do what Spirit has guided you to do. And be careful of this. Be careful of the triggers, okay? Because the thing is that this situation can be triggering as hell. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I know it. We all know it. It can be triggering, but the thing is that we do have a choice about how we approach this and how we go about it. Just because we feel triggered doesn't mean we need to act on it. We also can look and say, oh, okay, this is me being triggered, and how am I going to respond? Because I feel like with this reconciliation card popping up, divine timing, it's saying, look, don't get triggered and behave in ways that might interrupt this process. Be very conscious and very cognizant, work through that, because reconciliation, it will be happening in divine timing, period, point blank, put a pin in it. There will be a reconciliation. Again, like I keep saying, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna live happily ever after, that your counterpart's gonna show up with a ring tomorrow. But I'm saying that there will be a reconciliation where I feel like a lot of the animosity and a lot of the pain that people have been feeling is gonna be healing. So what is in the headspace of the person that you are thinking about? attunement, imagination, and synergy. Okay, so here's this. They're literally in. They're feeling your energy. That's what the synergy and attunement. They might think it's just in their imagination. They might be wondering because they might be even seeing signs, hearing songs. Remember, if you have songs that are particularly resonant between the two of you, like you have your song, or songs that came up repeatedly when you were together, that remind you of each other, those songs may be popping up regularly, and your person might be thinking like, what the hell is going on? But the thing is that they are attuned to your energy right now. They may not know it or understand how that works, but that is definitely what's happening. And so they are thinking about you. You keep popping up, and so you're in their thoughts, you're in their imagination. Like I said earlier in the beginning, because of that sensuality card that popped up, there may be some real sexual thoughts. They may be thinking back to, like, if you had that sexual connection, that sexual energy, they may be thinking a lot about that and wanting to come back toward you. In their heart space, mirroring. Oh my God, you guys, soulmate and the journey. By the way, these are the Twin Flame and Soulmate Oracle cards by Karen. Let me see if I can say her name. Jakubowski. I think I'm saying it right. Probably not, but I'll post the link in the comments. Mirroring. They're feeling you. So, I mean, mind your energy. Mind your energy, people, because what you're putting out there, what you're feeling, what's in your heart space and your head space, if you're thinking negative thoughts, thinking positive thoughts, they're mirroring it, they're feeling it. They're feeling you, you're feeling them. So that also goes the other way. If they're thinking negative thoughts about you, you're probably feeling it. If they're feeling sexual thoughts, you're feeling that. If they're feeling warm, fuzzy, puppy kisses and teddy bears, you're feeling that too. There's definitely mirroring happening between the two of you in a really significant way. And, I've said this before, they may not use the label of soulmate. They may not use the label of twin flame. They may not even know what the hell those terms mean, but they feel it in their heart space. They know it. They know that this is special. This is a connection like something like they've never had before. And so even though they may not be saying it, even though they may not be able to communicate it in their heart space, they freaking know that this is not an ordinary love. This is not something that's common. They've not experienced it before you. They haven't experienced it since, and they're super, super aware of it. Now, they're recognizing that this is part of the journey. This is just part of the journey. This is just part of what has to happen, part of what is going down. And they're trying to be patient with it. And they're also asking you, can you please be patient? Because they recognize that because this is part of the journey, because this is part of what's just happening right now, that, it may not be the best thing. I know what I say, a lot. I need to stop saying that so much. But they are fully aware in their heart space that what is happening right now is just part of the journey, even if they don't understand it, even if they don't have the language for it, even if they don't have a label for it. They know that it's just part of the journey, and they're trying to be patient and trying to say to you, be patient because this is part of what's happening. Let me go ahead and move this aside. And we're going to wrap up with some messages from the Lover's Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. Oh, jeez. That was a lot of cards that popped out, so I'm only going to take the first one that hit the table, and then we'll shuffle again. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, if you want just the workbook from the coaching program class, that's also available to purchase now. It's like, I don't remember, 100 and something pages. 7 weeks you can work through. This card fell out twice, so we're taking it. First message, embrace. Through each other, you find the missing pieces. Next message. Oh my God, you guys, you can't make this up. I tell you, sacred union. Honor and treasure your relationship, for it is truly sacred. Next message. Manifesting miracles. Wow. Your dream is soon to become reality. Trust your heart and continue to follow its guidance. And finally, passion. A magnetic and seductive quality surrounds you at present. Enjoy it. Now, if you're in the community tab, I posted a message about being magnetic, magnetism. That's really important. If you haven't checked it out, check it out, because I feel like it's going to help you understand what this is about. But anyway, I hope that this reading helped. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk with you all soon. Take care.